Hi, I'm Richard McMartin, and welcome to the route briefing for the second edition of the Torpedo SwimRun happening this Sunday. We're all really excited for you guys. It looks like it's going to be a great day. So I'm just going to talk through the plans for Sunday and go through the route. I'm going to do a Google Earth flyover of the route, just so you know what to expect and you know where the route goes in advance of Sunday. The route is marked on land and it's also marked on the water with life-saving boats and SUPs that will be directing you. But I do please want you to all try and watch this video. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible, but try and sit through the whole thing, watch it just so you know exactly what's happening. There is some big swell arriving on Sunday, so there are some route edits. So for those of you that have done the last event or have done a tour, the route is going to be slightly different. So I also want to show you all those points now. Okay, so first things first, I just want to go through the weather that we're expecting. So on the plus side, there's very little wind. It's blowing from the south, and it's white on wind guru, so that's looking great. It's also looking like it's going to be a nice sort of warmish day, but not too hot in the low 20s. Where the interesting swell comes in, so it is flat as a pancake at the moment. So we're Friday today, it's flat as a pancake today, it's flat as a pancake tomorrow, and the swell, it literally arrives on Saturday night, Sunday morning. So it's forecast to be already at sort of 7 to 11 foot for the start of the race on Sunday. So it's a bit of a tricky one for us. If the swell arrives late, then we will edit the route slightly. So we'll edit the Sandy Bay swim on Sunday morning. But I'm going to do this briefing at the moment based on this swell forecast hitting on Saturday night, so with quite big swell on the actual day. Just looking at the swell energy, so it's this big system that's rolling in through Saturday night and onto Sunday. So I mean, we go from this really low swell energy that we're sitting at the moment, and it jacks up from below 1,000 up to 4,500. So because of this, there is going to be a route change at a couple of points that I'm going to talk through. Cool. So looking at the fly through, you all would have received a checklist. It's a checklist that is available, and we'll put it on Facebook, but you've also been emailed that checklist. I'm not going to go through all those different points in terms of what time the shuttle leaves, so please refer to that checklist to just brief yourself on what is happening on the actual day in terms of times and so on. But a quick little thing, so you guys are going to be meeting at Clifton 4, and you're going to be parking your cars at Clifton 4, and there's a complimentary and compulsory shuttle which will take you from Clifton 4. You'll go along the route, and it'll drop you at the sand dune above. Sorry, my driving's not very good here. It'll drop you at the sand dune above Hout Bay, above Sandy Bay. So the shuttle will drop you off at the start line. You will have done your safety check when you are at Clifton Store. So you arrive in Sandy Bay wearing all of your kit. So there are 3 starts, and it's in reverse order start. You guys have all seated yourself already. The slow start goes first at 6:40, the medium start second at 6:50, and the fast start at 7. Okay. You run down, it's a really cool single track path that brings you to the first swim at Sandy Bay. The slow batch guys, by the time you get here, it's going to be quite cool. There'll be a whole armada of life-saving boats out on the water. So there'll be Big Bay 1, Big Bay 2, Ladudno, NSRI, there'll be a media boat, and our roving swim directors boats. So there'll be quite a few boats out on the water to direct you. So the yellow path is the path that we normally do on the Torpedo SwimRun. So we swim out from the beach and we go around this huge tongue of rock, and we come in on the rocks over here. This is the first change to the route, is that as it's forecast at the moment, we are not doing this yellow swim. You're going to come down to the beach, and you're going to swim around 2 buoys that have been dropped by our life-saving boats, and you're going to swim in a clockwise direction. One of our sponsors, Ion, is going to be set up on this beach, and you're going to swim around these buoys and back to the same spot on the beach, and then trail run to join up to where the route normally would have gone and along the rocks towards Llandudno. So if the swell has not arrived on Sunday morning, you'll get told on the shuttles and you'll get told on the start line that we're reverting back to A line, which comes in on the rocks. But at the moment, where we're sitting, it is going to be this B line, which takes you out from Sandy Bay Beach and back to Sandy Bay Beach. Okay, then so trail run out towards Llandudno, and you get to the Llandudno rocks, where this is a really cool spot where you jump off the rocks and you end up sort of behind backline in Llandudno, then you swim into backline. Okay, so at this point, this is the only point on the route where there are 2 options. You can either swim, and if you don't feel comfortable swimming, if the waves are too big, we give you the option to run round. So I'm first going to talk through the swim option. You'll get to the Llandudno rocks, the lifesavers will be on the rocks and will show you the swim route. Jump in the water and come into Llandudno. There's a rip on Llandudno on both sides. There's a rip that comes out here and there's a rip that comes out here. Llandudno will drop a buoy in the bay, which shows you the direction in between the rips onto the beach. So the waves should be pretty big. It will be a really fun swim into Llandudno, and there's, as I said, there's lifesavers on both the rocks, and there's lifesavers on the beach, and there's a lifesaving boat that will be in the bay. Should be a really cool swim. If you get to the swim start and the waves look too big and you're not comfortable, you are able to run. There's a path that we'll mark that you can run on these rocks and round to Llandudno Beach. For those that run and don't do the swim, when you get onto Llandudno Beach, there's our sponsor GoPro is going to be set up on the beach. We're going to have a holding pen that you'll get to hold for 10 minutes on the beach. So if you run around, there's a 10-minute penalty that you'll get held on the beach. After that, we'll have a Torpedo crew member who is on the beach and managing that. After your 10 minutes, you do the timing tap out and you keep going on the course. Just while I'm at this point, I'm going to quickly run through some rules of swimrun in general. So the first is that swimrun is not a triathlon. So in a triathlon, if you're coming into a transition point, there would be marshals waving their flags, there would be orange cones, you'd be going along a smooth tar road, and it's all a very controlled environment. Swimrun is the complete opposite. It is in the natural environment. You are going to be coming, for an example, and I don't know where we're looking, you're coming into a beach, you've got 6 to 9 foot waves behind you, you've got a rip on your left, you've got a rip on your right. It is very much a case of you in the natural environment and you have to read the conditions. You can't just swim aimlessly in towards the beach. You need to be aware, you need to be with your partner, you need to be thinking the whole time, you need to be watching out for waves, watching out for surf, watching out for swell, watching out for your fellow competitors. It's a real adventure. It's you out there in nature. So it's not a controlled environment. So that's the first point. Swimrun is not a triathlon. The second point is every time you enter the water, you need to please enter feet first. So there's no diving into the water. You need to enter feet first. The third rule is a separation rule. So you're doing this with your partner. He's your buddy. He's with you for the whole race, and you guys are looking after each other. You cannot be separated from your partner by more than 10 meters on the swim, and you cannot be separated from your partner by more than 20 meters on land. The fourth rule is that every swim entry and every swim exit, you'll see it on this map as we go through here. Every swim entry and every swim exit, our timing company Moby has a timing pod that will be at the swim entry and the swim exit. You guys all have timing bands that will be on your wrists, and you will check in to each swim and check out of every swim. So please do not get in the water. You cannot get in the water anywhere. You have to follow this marked course. You have to go where the sponsor flags are at the start of the swim and the timing chip. You cannot decide that you think you're going to swim, you're going to get in the water earlier and you're going to do a longer swim, or you're going to come out on the rocks and run. You have to enter every swim at the marked point, and you have to exit every swim at the marked point where the sponsor flags are and the timing chips. The fifth rule is any littering is an immediate disqualification. If our crew members or our sponsors see anyone dropping a power bar goo packet or a drink or any sweet wrapper, that is unfortunately the end of you. We're racing through this beautiful pristine area, and any littering is an immediate DQ. And then the last rule is that we have got sponsors and beach managers at the start and finish of every swim. It's a dynamic route. Anything can happen with the wind, anything can happen with the swell. So please always listen to all the Torpedo crew members along the route. If they have a last minute change, there's been an emergency, there's something's happened in the water, and they close that swim, you have to listen to them, and they will direct you if you have to run around or whatever the change is. So you have to listen to our crew members. Cool. Okay, so that's the end of the second Llandudno swim. There is a really last single track run up through Llandudno. It is pretty tough. You've just come out of the cold water again, and it's a tough run up to the top of Victoria Road, and you're going to get to our first energy point. So power bar is going to be set up at the top. They're going to have drinks and food for you guys, and it's a great spot to look back over Llandudno and see any teams that are still doing the swim. It's a really cool vantage point from the top there. Then you have a long tar road descent. You've got the sea on your left-hand shoulder and 12 Apostles over your right. It's a really cool run and brings you down to the Oudekraal swim. So this is the longest swim. It's 1.3 Ks, but it's also the most protected swim from the swell. And it's also a swim that normally has really cool visibility, and there's the Antipolis shipwreck. There's bits of it scattered over here, but there's the big, the whole section is just across from the 12 Apostles Hotel. So you can see on this tour, our little GPS marker, we were floating around there for a while looking at it. So it's this fantastic swim. Again, you get to Oudekraal, there'll be a timing pod at the start of the swim. You tap in the timing pod, you do the swim, and you tap in the timing pod at the end of the swim. The race is going to be held pretty much going into low tide. Low tide is at 9:30. On high tide, so we've done some tours where it's corresponded with high tide. There's a gap between the rocks that you can take here in high tide. It's not going to be possible this Sunday. It's going to be too low. All of you are going to have to swim around these rocks over here and then into Cozy Bay. So from the swim exit, you see the 12 Apostles Hotel on your right-hand side. You go in between these rocks out to sea and the shore, in between that, around these rocks on the point, and then into Cozy Bay. Once again, at every swim, there will be water safety. There will be water safety at the start. There will be water safety at the finish, and there will be life-saving boats on the water. So that's the 12 Apostles swim. Then another really nice road run which takes you into Buckhaven. But just going back to Cozy Bay, Red Bull will be set up at Cozy Bay. They have a nice little vibe going there, and there will be some Red Bull if you're keen to get a little energy spike after that longer swim. So the road run through from Cozy Bay into Buckhaven. At Buckhaven, we've got a really cool changes here. So the guys from Bootleggers have come on board as an energy point sponsor, and we are having the energy point in the Buckhaven Bootleggers. So you'll run along the tar road, you will run to the Bootleggers. There will be food and drink there, and there will be coffee if you feel like a nice pick-me-up halfway through the race. So that'll all be available from Buckhaven. You then will backtrack on yourselves for like about 60 meters, and you'll come down a path onto the rocks in front of Buckhoven. Again, this will all be marked, so don't worry about trying to figure out too much on this map where it is, but you'll go to the bootleggers and then backtracking yourselves and then down onto the rocks. Really technical rock hopping section in front of Buckhoven, and then you get to Buckhoven Bay. So the standard torpedo route, if there's no swell, is across the Buckhoven Bay, and you get out by the Camps Bay tidal pool. That is definitely not going to happen on Sunday. So the swim is marked with this red line here, and this is going to be confirmed that this won't change. There won't be an option of this swim. It will be from Beta Beach to Buckhoven Beach next to the Camps Bay police station over here. So Sunto will be set up on Beta Beach, and Squirt will have gazebos on this little Buckhoven Beach. There is quite a lot of kelp going across Buckhoven. Kelp is part of this Torpedo SwimRun. You have to make kelp your friend. You have to grab it and just pull yourself over it. It's all part of the adventure, and everyone has to go through it. You're safe in the kelp. It really sort of dissipates the swell, and it's you just have to get over it and pull yourself through it. Okay, so the Buckhoven swim, you're coming into the beach at the end of the bay and not the tidal pool. From the Squirt Gazebo, again, the route's going to be marked, but you run up the steps onto Victoria Road, along Victoria Road, and then down onto Camps Bay Beach. On Camps Bay Beach, you're going to get to our friends from Subaru. They are going to be branding Camps Bay Beach. So again, the swim that we did at last year's event came around these rocks and into Glen Beach. We're not going to be doing that swim. We are arriving on Camps Bay Beach. From the Subaru sponsor setup, there will be the timing swim check-in. And again, it's around two buoys that the lifesavers will set up in a clockwise direction. So you around that buoy, and back to the Subaru setup on the beach, and then to do your timing checkout. You then run along Camps Bay Beach. You do not do the swim. You run across the rocks where the red route is, and then a really cool technical little cave that you go through at Glen Beach. Across the rocks, up the grass bank, onto Maiden's Cove, down through Maiden's Cove, again technical rock hopping, and then to the last swim into the calm waters of Clifton 4, and then the finish line, which is on Clifton 4th Beach. So that's it, and that's the 16 Ks. I'm just going to do a quick summary again so you know what's happening. Sandy Bay, it is not going to be the swim around the rocks. It is going to be a clockwise swim around the buoys. Sandy Bay is the only swim that can change on the morning, and it could revert back to the A line onto the rocks if the swell hasn't come through. But as it stands at the moment, clockwise around the rocks, back to the beach. Swim number 2 at Ladadno, the swim stays the same as usual. Jump off the rocks and into Ladadno around the lifesaving buoy. There is the option to run round. If you're not up to the swim, there's the option to run round. 10-minute time penalty on the beach. Swim number 3, Odacroll, stays the same. Around the rocks, you cannot get out the water and go through the rocks. You have to go around the rocks into Cozy Bay. Swim number 4, Buckhoven Bay. We are not swimming to the tidal pool. Everyone is going to swim from Sunto Gazebo to the Squirt Gazebo on the beach. So you're still swimming across the bay, but just not in that direction, in this direction. Swim number 5, Camps Bay. You're not going from Camps Bay to Glen. You're coming around 2 buoys, again clockwise, and back to Camps Bay Beach. Swim number 6 into Clifton stays the same. Okay, so that's a wrap of that. Hopefully everyone is very excited. The weather, I mean, it looks like it should be a fantastic day, just with some big swell coming through, but that all makes it even more exciting. And I wish all of you a fantastic race, and I hope it goes well. I'll see you later at registration. Cheers.